Hey, what up, YouTube? It's your boy, the Visionary. Welcome to another episode of Fireside Chats. Oh, sorry about that. I'm a bit tired, but I wanted to get this video out the way. It's one of my bigger topics, major topics. The first discussion is going to be about the ever-deepening complexity of the Benghazigate scandal, right? This thing is, like, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There's so much shit that's connected to it. Just to do a recap, in 2012, September, basically on that day, the anniversary of September 11th, there was an attack on a U.S. consulate, where an American ambassador, Stevens, something, I don't know his fucking name, I don't give a shit, and some of his aides were killed in an attack, right? And after the attack, a public statement by the State Department, Susan Rice, head of State Department, Susan Rice, gave about what had happened, and basically what was stated was that there was a video on YouTube that was created by pro-Israeli / neo-Christian / whatever people who put the video out, and that video on that day sparked organic, spontaneous uprising, which resulted in the death of the ambassador Stevens, right? As the story went on, I guess people in Congress and the Senate and State Department, and more importantly, Congress and Senate didn't believe the actual White House statement on the subject, so they did both an FBI investigation and a Senate investigation on the situation. It turns out there was a lot more going on, and that the cover story, which was that the spontaneous organic uprising that resulted in the death of Stevens, was caused by the YouTube video. They started finding out that there was so much shit going on that they had to investigate. So basically, as the story unfolds, it turns out that that the uprising wasn't organic and wasn't spontaneous. It was a planned, orchestrated, and organized attack against the consulate. And what had happened was, when the attack was going on, right? This is the reason why supposedly Petraeus was why he stepped down. It wasn't just because of the actual him cheating on his wife type of shit. It wasn't that. It was part of this particular situation was that, as he was the head of the CIA, the CIA, their mission statement is their government funded organization that operates outside of the country. So they're supposed to operate outside the country. So what happens is, whenever a situation like that occurs, some sort of high-level crisis attack against a U.S. citizen or U.S. ambassador of that type of intensity, what happens is that the CIA have strike teams, instant reaction strike teams that they strap up and they're ready to rock and roll within the hour or a couple minutes, depending on where they are in the world. So what happened was, whenever that situation that pops off, they have standing orders, meaning they have automatic orders to get the job done and deal with the shit. So what happens is, when they were getting ready to get the shit done, the general story was that there was a stand down order that came down through the wire. Now, the conflict was it between Petraeus, or was it the White House, State House, or President Obama? Because they said Obama was directly involved, and he was in the know what was going on, so he was directly directing what the fuck was going on the ground, supposedly. So the conflict was that the State Department was conflicting with the CIA, going, yo, why did you tell them to stand down? CIA saying, we didn't stand down, you were the guys that told them to stand down. And because of the back and forth, Petraeus was forced to just step the fuck down. But they put that cover story of the whole, he cheated and he blah, blah. No, that was a bullshit. That was a cover story. That was basically a cover story. So new details came out about what the fuck was going on. I don't know if this was just hearsay, but from other sources, this is from the fringe. This is from the conspiracy fringe, basically, of the media. This is the alternative media, the conspiracy fringe of the alternative media. they said what happened was that there was another backstory going on, right? They said that this wasn't a U.S. consulate. They said this was a CIA slash armed forces interrogation facility. Like, it was an impromptu. Basically, it wasn't a real facility. It was just a rundown building that they put terror suspects and random people, whoever the fuck was going on there. So what happens is that what had happened was, and here's the other backstory to that. The other backstory is that there's this organization, right? There's this organization called the Muslim Brotherhood. This is basically an organization that has connections to many different terrorist groups that are spawned in the Middle East and so on and so forth, right? To combat Western imperialism. But the organization itself, Muslim Brotherhood, is more or less a political movement that technically it's presented as a political movement that can operate in the Western world, meaning they dress the same way, they're educated, they work together, they have political pull with different leaders in the Muslim world to get shit done, and they can come face to face in diplomatic talks with the US and Britain and France and NATO and the international community as a whole to get shit done, period. But they are diametrically opposed to Western imperialism in the Middle East and throughout the world, basically. So before all of this, from I think 2004 or 5, as the war waged on, this organization made themselves known more so to the international community and more importantly to the West, as it is. And what had happened is, as these terrorist groups, multiple terrorist groups kept popping up, the U.S. would use a sort of strategy where they would extend a diplomatic hand to these organizations, because on the surface, and there's more intricacies to this, on the surface, they felt that to end the war, they're fighting against an enemy whose religious and moral convictions gave them the right, in and of itself, to combat Western imperialism and their forces in foreign land. So the U.S. says, you know what, why don't we extend our hand and why don't we ask for the help? Like, listen, we'll give you, when we topple these governments and when we take these people in power, we will put people that we have direct political connections with, or two, in power, basically put dictators in power, another dictator in power, and we will legitimize the political standing within the international community of the Muslim Brotherhood, or whatever the terrorist organization's name is, period. So then you have a shift between, a transformation between a unlegitimate rogue operation slash terrorist group into a organized, credible, politically savvy, and connected political movement and facade, basically. So what happens is that was the U.S.'s method. They would try to befriend or put out diplomatic connections with these terrorist groups, and slowly but surely these groups would disappear, they would get filtered out, they would get transformed, and they would take over the countries or places that they made deals with the U.S. to become, so they would become leaders and so on and so forth. So now the Muslim Brotherhood, basically being the umbrella organization that kind of governs and funds all these motherfuckers, what they do is they have been working with the U.S. to try to stop some of these terrorist groups that splinter off and do shit. So what happens is that one of the leaders from the Muslim Brotherhood, as far as the ground operation is concerned, the spiritual leaders, right? He was captured as the Blind Sheik guy. You probably heard a bit about him here and there. But the Blind Sheik guy was captured and he was being tortured, right? And he's one of the major leaders that's been running the Muslim Brotherhood slash I forgot the name of this organization. It's a offshoot. I think I put it in another video or something like that. But this offshoot organization, if you get a chance, look up the CFR, because CFR put up an article. I've been trying to find it because I was reading in the CFR where they talked about how the Obama administration praises this new terrorist organization from opening up diplomatic ties with them, but then they spur the offshoot organization that it was coming from, because they were actually combating both U.S. forces and its parent organization that spawned them in itself. So basically, we're fighting. We captured this Blind Sheik guy. Ambassador Stevens was down there. This is the backstory. This is the fringe. This is the fringe story. This is the alternative media fringe story shit that I'm getting, and I'm reading other newspapers like Al Jazeera and all the shit that they are basically verifying the backstory is that the blind sheep guy gets captured, right? He's being interrogated, he's being tortured by the CIA, whatever. Stevens was not, he was an ambassador, but he was trying to broker a deal to release the guy. But the thing is, we can't allow the U.S. to save face, can't allow or let anyone know that the blind sheep guy was being released under the auspices of them working out a diplomatic deal between the Muslim Brotherhood and the United States. They have to be diametrically opposed. They have to keep up the facade of them going, oh, these guys are terrorists, we don't do business with terrorists, even though they've been doing business with terrorists for the past, like, 5-6 years, so on and so forth. But, so what they did was, Hillary Clinton and the State Department, or more or less Hillary Clinton and CIA, devised a plan where it was like, listen, you're going to stage a hostage rescue, basically. And you're going to go in, you're going to break the blind sheik out, and you're going to take him away, and then we won't go after you. You know, you make it seem like you motherfuckers did whatever, and blah, blah, blah. So, during September 11th, this event occurred, and then they created the whole video. The Susan Rice came out with the whole story that it was this YouTube video that incited the Muslim world to riot and revolt and attack the American consulates and so on and so forth. And that was supposed to be an explanation for what the fuck happened. It was just a cover story to cover up the fact that, number one, it was an actual organized planned attack, and number two, the planned and organized attack was actually orchestrated by Hillary Clinton and the CIA. And factions within the Muslim Brotherhood wanted the blind sheep back. That's basically what the fuck it was. So as the story goes, there, you know, a lot of people are getting investigated. A lot of people are being put up on the stand. And the thing is, a lot of people in the public are not getting, they're not seeing, is that a lot of people got the axe. A lot of people in the military, lots of generals, like I think 4 to 5 generals, including Petraeus, got chopped. A lot of people in his administration got chopped. There's a lot of people that he's getting the cut because they were all involved in this shit. They've all been involved. My ultimate opinion on what the fuck was going on was, besides the Benghazi attack, because that was just one of the ultimate expressions of it. What happened is that there's a power struggle happening in Congress. You have the Congress and Senate on one side, that's one party, right? You have the president, and you have the Obama administration, which is one side, and then you have the military-industrial complex, which is another. So you have three independent groups of 3 independent parties who are battling for power. What's going on now? Here's the deal: the real battle is between the military-industrial complex and Obama. Now, here's the deal. During the Libya campaign, what most people I wish people would read more. During the Libya campaign was actually voted on and believed, and through consensus, Congress and Senate was basically like, listen, we do not feel that we need to go. We do not believe we should go to war or put any sort of military presence in Libya, right? So we are not giving you the power to send our military to Libya. The president was like, yo, I'm not putting any forces, I'm not putting any physical forces in Libya. I'm not putting any soldiers. I'm going to just use drone. I'm going to use our drone technology and use flybys and shit like that. So technically, I'm not committing an act of war. This is basically humanitarian aid, yada, yada, yada. Not Panetta. Panetta, with, I forgot the other dude, Panetta, yeah, Panetta, at the time, when he was still, not still, but when he became the Secretary of Defense, he was like, during the actual campaign when they started it, Congress had a congressional hearing where they were trying him, and the Obama administration was like, yo, why did you go to war? We told you how you are able to. You have to explain to us what gave you the right to go to whatever. So Panetta was like, yo, listen, in times of, in certain situations, events, and circumstances, um, it is through our through our base assessment and an international consensus that we go to war, that we decided to send troops and to go to war with Libya as a humanitarian aid in order to deal with the situation that's going on. And we didn't have to consult or deal with the Congress and Senate, period. And if those situations come out, we will inform you when we decide to go to war or to deal with certain situation events in Libya and so on and so forth. The Congress and Senate was like, yo, do you know what the fuck you're just saying? That's like insurrection. You don't have supreme power to use the army. Like, when the president goes to war, when the president wants to go to war, when the country wants to go to war, it has to have express permission by the Congress and Senate. So it's basically the president, as the head of the country, goes, yo, I want to go to war. If the Congress and Senate do not agree to go to war with, he does not have the power to send the army. It has to be a joint concession, like, yo, both of us, we agree, go to war, you have the power to do your shit. The fact that the Secretary of Defense, the industrial, the military, the armed forces, basically said, at the behest of the president, goes, listen, based on our foreign policy, right? Based on our foreign policy and the doctrines that we've developed over the years, and the international consensus on us dealing with whatever situations happen in Libya, we do not need to consult you at all. We'll tell you what the fuck is going on, but we don't have to talk to you or deal with you and tell you what the fuck we're doing. We don't have to ask for your permission. That's treasonous. That's completely treasonous right there. That's like, yo, that's unconstitutional. Like, how do you fuck you do that shit? When I found out about that, I started looking more into what's going on in Congress and Senate, and there's been lots of cases where they've been going beyond the checks and balances. Like, oh, I don't need to listen to you, fuck you, and then they do something that's against the law in regards to the Constitution. And it's been going back and forth for the past, like, 4 years. Like, literally, like, past 4 years. And there is this faction in the military that Obama has to deal with. You know what I mean? Obama has been going back and forth between that faction in the military and Congress and Senate trying to get shit done. And that's the reason why Congress and Senate is like, yo, you need to check your shit and chill the fuck out, because you're starting to act kind of funny. And this shit's been going on for like a while. So if you get the chance, look into that. That shit it's kind of scary to me. Alright. Next topic of discussion. Gun control laws. Cuomo passing the new gun regulation laws. My whole thing with that, and for those of you who don't know, it's basically semi-automatic weapons that are getting banned, and anything that has like a military grade feature on it or some shit like that. And clips, bullets. If you have more than 7 bullets, that's illegal in a clip. Whatever, it's kind of dumb. That makes semi-automatic weapons pointless in and of itself. My whole thing with it is this, right? New York already has massive gun regulation laws in it, period. Most people do not own guns in New York as it is, period. Why would you pass this type of law? It makes no fucking sense. It doesn't make... honestly, what it does, it makes it harder for people to get those type of weapons, number one. And then number two, its design purpose, yes, to kill people, is severely strangled and stopped. And that's not the purpose of getting the gun. The purpose of getting a gun is to kill people, period. Not to say that regular citizens would want to go around killing regular citizens, but the fact that we American people, citizens or New Yorkers, having access to weapons like that, just in case something fucking happens, is the entire point. That's the point of the Second Amendment Constitution. Number two, the second issue is, I honestly think they used the Hurricane Sandy relief bill. They stalled it until Cuomo said, listen, I'll give you this if you give me that. And that's honestly what the fuck happened. That's honestly what went down. Is they said, listen, they could have passed the Hurricane Sandy relief bill like any time, but They waited until Cuomo said, you know what, I'm going to sign the New York State gun regulation laws. And then once that's signed, literally the next day, that's when they passed the fucking the Hurricane Sandy relief bill and bullshit. And you're gonna see instances of that. That's what's been going on for the past 4 years. Basically, what's going on is any bill or event situation that gets written up as a bill or some type of legislation that people want passed and it's being pushed back and forth. What's going on is people are going, okay, it's quid pro quo. If you pass this, I'll pass that. If you don't pass my shit, I'm not going to help you pass your shit. That's what happened with the debt ceiling crisis that happened, I think, a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. That's what happened when this motherfucker, Montserrat, when he was fucking in Congress and Senate, he was bouncing back and forth and shit. Trying to, first he was a Democrat, and then literally in a day he turned to a Republican, and he fucked up the entire balance of power in Congress and Senate. And notice you haven't heard anything else from this motherfucker ever since. I helped with his campaign to get him fucking elected and shit. And when you got characters like that in Congress and Senate who's just fucking around and not taking care of business, that messes up a lot of shit, and people need to say something about that. But that's what's been going on. Whenever there's some type of legislation or bill that's happening, you have a power struggle between the Republicans and the Democrats, and Republicans are straight assholes. You know what I mean? Like, period. Me personally, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I really don't give a shit. You know, it's right wing, left wing, it's all the same fucking bird. But a lot of bills, a lot of things that could help people are being held hostage by the Republicans because it's like they know that the Democrats don't have a majority, so they go, you know, we're just gonna fuck everything up so that once his presidency is over, we're just gonna take the fuck over and do whatever the fuck we want, period. Yeah, shit is fucking crazy. That's it for now. Deuces. When you get the chance, look up to the Benghazigate because there's so much shit that's happening. Oh my god, I've been finding out so much about it. What else I've been hearing about that shit? I heard like the whole Hillary Clinton thing. They want her to step down. Like I honestly believe, the power struggle that's happening in Congress and Senate. What's going on is that, after the Benghazigate was just one thing that this rogue faction in the military-industrial complex and certain key members in Obama's administration collectively tried to do because they have their own agenda, and Obama caught on to it, and he was like, yo, y'all getting cut, you know what I mean? I'm gonna give you a list. I'm gonna find a list of the people because there's lots of people that got cut, lots of military commanders that I like 5. Like, how do you cut that many people? Because I'm like, how are this many people involved in this shit, like, at all? I mean, there's like, oh yeah, a lot of them involved. Hold on a second. I'm gonna look it up. Oh! You didn't see that happen. Alright. Looking at me. I'm gonna find a list. Hold on 1 second. Alright. Okay, no, it's conspiracy. Here's a list. The fuck is going on? Because I was talking to a few people about this before. Not really that. I didn't know it was that widespread after the Benghazi attack, but they said, yeah, mind you, this was like after, kind of like before, I think after his election, and they were like, yeah, this is what happens when a new president comes in and this and that. Alright, the list is... okay. Yep, there's a lot of... yeah, I think there's like 4 motherfuckers that got let go. Alright, you have U.S. Army General Carter Ham. After... he's basically, I think he's like a black commander in AFRICOM or some shit like that. Then you have Rear Admiral Charles M. Goet. Who else is there? Let me see. You have David Rodriguez, I think, who got cut from that. And I'm pretty sure Hillary Clinton is going to be relieved of duty because of the not just the event, the Benghazi event, but because of her supposed medical ills. And I think those things came up in response to the fact that she was going to have to testify because she was involved in it. She was specifically involved in this shit. Period. Because I heard rumors and whispers that there was more to, before the Benghazi attack happened, there was a situation where she was on some type of secret diplomatic mission or some shit, and she crash landed in like Libya, someplace around Libya or Iran, one of those places, and it was because of that incident, the crash, where she got her injuries, and then the injuries turned into something else, and then magically, mysteriously, the injuries started to develop and express themselves before the actual attack, before the actual the congressional hearings that that led into the investigation of the Benghazigate. Alright, where is it? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, when you get the chance to look into this, because this shit is getting deeper and deeper by the day. Other than that, I'm done. Deuce.